Yeah, here we go. Installing VirtualDub. First, I've got all these bookmarked. Did I click this? Okay, I must have. Where did I put that? VirtualDub. Near the top. Now I haven't uninstalled the one that I have. And I probably should, just to verify that these steps are enough. But I'm a little bit. I could make a restore point. Why do I do that and just? Well, it's okay. It's easy enough to follow. Basically, there are 3 components that you need. Well, let's say 4. There's another component that you want in case you don't have it, which is called the K-Lite Codec pack. So you should install this pack, Codec pack, anyway, just in general, because that allows you to play pretty much any kind of media file in any kind of media player, except possibly VLC player, which does everything internally, it seems. But I use the player that comes with K-Lite. It comes together bundled with a very simplified media player, which is good. There's K. Am I staring at it? I was just looking at it. This media player classic, and I have that associated with everything because it doesn't have any fancy stuff. I know that it's a lightweight kind of thing. It's like, well, you've seen it so many times when I run these things. You see, it's a very simple interface. You can have more information on here if you want. I don't know why it's not. It says, oh, here we go. Statistics. Information, I think, is, oh, I see. It's got to be something like a file that has information, like some MP3 files might have a song title, track number, and so on. These videos don't have any information besides, the regular stuff. The kind of information that is associated with a media object, such as an AVI or an MP3 file or an FLV file or whatever file. So take for instance, sometimes I download things from YouTube. For instance, I downloaded this MP4 file. You can't see the name completely. Just to see how it looks, running on my machine. And I have everything associated with that same player. It doesn't matter. I'm going to run this. Well, it's quite big. So I'll pause it and hopefully my voice won't get cut out. You see that frame size, right? Now, if I make it small, hopefully that should be okay. It's not playing. You'll notice, for instance, that this little thing popped up here. And that's because since this here is not using MP3 audio, this media info thing also comes with the K-Lite pack. And that allows you to see everything about a media file. For instance, the bit rate, the length, the size, the codec used for the video, and all of the frame rate, size, and so on, and audio as well. The audio here is not MP3, it's something called advanced audio codec, and the decoder that I'm using came with the K-Lite codec pack. Here, I need to double click a sec. When I double click on that, it brings up this dialog, and that allows you to see what libraries or not are being used for various, in this case, this is FFA. There's a little A, you can't read it probably, but there's an A in the corner there. The blue one is audio, and this shows the various audio types that it knows about, and the decoder is listed in the middle. So for AAC, Advanced Audio Codec, and it turns out I'm using the one that came with it. That came with K-Lite. This also I think came with K-Lite. And when things are disabled, that doesn't mean that you're not able to use them. That means that they're just using the system decoder. For instance, MP3 here I have disabled, right? I could if I wanted to, I could have changed it there. The same menu is available through here. So audio decoder. Suppose I turn MP3 not disabled anymore, but I'm not sure which one I use. It's better for this. Well, let's say this one. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Now if I run an MP3, if I try to play an MP3 file, say from my audio here, local, Roberta Flack, killing me soft. Sorry, let me just fix this first. Some of these audio files don't have any information in them, so I'd rather have this view. At least I can see something about it. It's an MP3 file. Well, first we can look exactly and see. It's at constant bit rate 128 file. Now, again, I also have MP3 files associated with the same player. Everything always brings up a new block. Now it's playing, but I put this on mute. And instead of the usual, usually I don't get anything out here because I have it using the internal system decoder. Now it's using this new one. Oh yeah, I gotta double click. See, now it's using this. And when it is using that, you can use these various things. Like you might want to use the equalizer to change the way things sound. Make it more bassy or something. So you can, when you enable the various decoders that come with that pack, you also get these you can use these things. One of the things you might try to figure out, and I've never been able to, is how to get Dolby to work. There should be more in here for Dolby. Or maybe because it's not Dolby. When you're playing something that is Dolby, that has like 6 channels, it never works for me because I haven't got it set up right. So So I never listen to anything with Dolby. I always convert to MP3. I don't really want that setting on. I'd prefer this to be just this, using the system, because that's faster. Alright, so you should download and install this thing, and that should allow you to play any kind of media file in any player. And I would advise to stick with this simple Windows Media Classic player, so as to get rid of all of the extra noise. It's probably not helping you. Maybe you like what's that, Winamp or something. So it's your choice, but I would personally use theirs. All right, so now that's a important tool, not because it allows you so much to play the various media types. The main thing is that you're always going to want to be able to look at these things. For the next reason, which is the next program that you need, and that's in my list here. Well, you need this or something similar. I've never had any problems with this. In fact, it says that I have that installed here, any video converter, and it's an old version, and they have a new version, and it says upgrade now. The old version's working so well, I'm afraid to upgrade it. I don't want to lose the abilities that this old one has, which is, at this point, for MP4 or FLV files, I can convert them into AVI XviD files. XviD MP3. The magical combination that is easy to get working with VirtualDub. In order to open anything in VirtualDub, you have to have all the correct decoders, right? And it doesn't go through the standard system method of decoding. It needs the actual library. And XviD and MP3 are easy to get, and they're both free. And this program will take any kind of file that you have. The type of file that this creates. I'll get rid of that. Or anything that I can think of, either to an audio file or to a video AVI file. MP3 is fine, and XviD is fine, and that's all I ever use. So if you want to know how to do another combination, you'll have to figure that out yourself. So I'm suggesting to use this program. So that's two things to install. Both of those things are sort of independent of everything else. The next two, then you want to go and just get VirtualDub, which you can get from SourceForge. This virtualdub.sourceforge. The current version happens to be 1.104, and it's just a zip file download. Okay, there's no installer. I did download this earlier just to see if it changed size or anything. There we go now. Install probably. Well, I renamed it to 7Z, which is what I often do when I want to just look inside without Windows guessing what I want. This is pretty much all you need. There are no plugins, apparently. I don't know what this is. Doesn't seem to do anything. Well, I guess you can turn that off and on. Don't know what it's for. This is the program, the graphical interface program. This I think is a command line thing. And I'm not sure. I never run these programs. All I have is I copied the program to some directory. And then I made a link on here. And also on my desktop. I don't know if I can look at the properties. I happen to put it into program files, but not through an installer. I just put it, since that's where most other programs go, I put it there. And thinking back, it's probably not the best place to put it. But it seems to have been okay so far. The thing is with program files is it's a protected folder, and it's also a folder that gets backed up, I guess. When system restore, and I've had problems with system restores. I don't think it tries to create any subdirectories underneath its directory. If it does, then you wouldn't want it in program files, because that's not allowed. You'd have to create the directory first. But apparently it doesn't. It doesn't create any subdirectories underneath its root. Now you'll run the program and you'll try to open an AVI file, and it's going to complain. It's going to say it cannot open file. And sometimes it's helpful when it fails like that, and it'll tell you what you need. And everything that I take, I convert to the combination, as I said, XviD, AVI. The magical combination. You can make a fancy font for this. A nice big, fancy font. It's big, it's not fancy. This looks fancy. Magical combination. One. Well, it's a combination, so there's only one thing. XviD X. Oh, it's all caps. I don't like this font. How about this? Well, that's fancy, all right. How about a big one? Okay, that's not too bad. They like to make the X and the D capitals. Slash MP3. So this is the audio video interleave file format that is magical in that I know how to make that readable and editable through VirtualDub. So that doesn't look like an island, does it? Sorry. Oh, yes. There we go. Okay. And that's not very nice. It's not good, but whatever. Okay, so now that's something that the first program I mentioned will do for you for any type of file that I've ever run into so far. You don't even, at this point, you don't care about if it converts it well or anything. Just make sure that, let me take as an example one of the files I download. If you want to get a good conversion into the magic format, here's a short file, but I don't want to do it anyway. I'll copy this here. Now, what I do is go to Media Info, save this to a text file. Note here, because not because I'm trying to be cool, but because if I say text, it ends up way down at the bottom there. I want it close by. No, now what? Is there funny characters in here? Oh, it's no. No, could be my fault. It's my fault. Something to do with me not parsing the path right. See what I mean about getting the path right? Now, suppose I want to convert this to this magical format. If I run this any video converter, which is the tool that will get this to a state where I can edit it, I want to make sure that I get everything right. So the frame rate, first, I've got this set on a custom AVI movie. You select XviD, original don't care about the frame rate. A bit rate that's similar to this. This says 700, so you might choose 1000 for that. Frame rate, this is not right. You would adjust that to 25. Then you look at the audio. YouTube videos are always 44.1 kilohertz. This is 48, so you should change that. And make sure that the audio rate is at least as high as the audio bit rate in the file. Once you do that, then you run the conversion, and then you have a file that you can work with. So that's why that's important, and that's why this is important, right? And the next thing, after copying VirtualDub and making yourself a shortcut, assume that you know how to make a shortcut, you're going to want the audio decoder, which is called lane. This is an encoder and decoder for MP3 format. It's called lane. You go to the download page. This one's quite easy to install. Here's the download. This is source code. It's an open source thing. Source code, file area, lane links. Now, some people have made installers for this. Oh, yes, I think we need this. We may need this FFmpeg. Maybe not, maybe not. I don't believe I needed to install. I might have that installed, but I don't think it's needed. Let's see, download. Is this the right one? XviD. That's the next one. It might have been that. I guess so. The only thing that in my history, it seems I click here. And oh, wait a minute, Audacity. Well, that's a program. That's this program for audio, editing audio specifically, like changing the volume and whatnot. Let's see here. Open source software that supports or uses free closed source that supports encoding. I think you want this FFmpeg, okay? Now you would notice, for instance, that where it is. This libabc codec is here, see? So it includes stuff to do with MP3. I think if you just install this here, okay, it will install the lame, L-A-M-E, only one A. See, I have something called lame. I'm not real sure where I got it from. Oh, lame for Audacity. I see. I installed it. That's the one. I see. That's the one I've been using. This little, it's just a little tiny little program, okay. But this encoder here is used for encoding MP3, and this thing can encode and decode MP3. And I know that Auto Guardian not uses it, but the DVD ripping thing. I took a screenshot as it was decoding that DVD to try and see what command line it uses, but you can see also that it's obviously using that lame thing. That's what the lame. This is lame doing a audio encoding for variable bitrate, average 192K per second, because that's the biggest bar. Oh, that's the source file. It doesn't say. I don't think I have another. I don't think it's in my path. Just laying back. But that'll clear itself out. I've learned that that'll clear itself out. No. Not sure why. Oh, never mind. I don't know why this happens to me. But I'm checking it to see if this has anything to do with it. Yeah. I'm not sure why that happened. Probably because I did a system restore. See? Now this one's cleared. And I bet the other one will be cleared too. It has to do with some temporary files that get made when I run this batch file that are in the evil direction that gets touched when system restore occurs. Okay, so now are there more? Maybe. So there's that one. Oh, see, autos. They install their own version as well. See, and so I guess maybe you may need to install lane for Audacity That's hard to tell. Okay, well, if it doesn't work, contact me and we'll get it going. It might be enough just to install this FFmpeg. I think it is. Then, lastly, the XviD codec. That's the easiest part. This is for viewing and decoding and encoding XviD files. And there's a regular old installer. You don't have to fiddle around for Windows. You just go to this one of these sites, download the installer, and run it. Okay, not DivX. DivX is something you have to pay for. XviD, which is spelled backwards, is DivX spelled backwards. It's exactly the same thing, but it's free. And if you make the mistake of installing DivX and having that being used instead of XviD, then all your videos are going to have a little logo in the corner that says DivX because you haven't paid. Okay, and that gets burned into the video stream, and you don't want that to happen. So make sure if you have DivX, get rid of it, uninstall it completely, and make sure there are no remnants of DivX on your machine, and then install this and you'll be fine. That in combination with the K-Lite thing will ensure that you can watch any type of DivX file. And you won't have to see that ugly logo. Okay, now once you've done that, the instructions for installing these, let me go through the steps once more. So this is step 1. Install K-Lite Codec. Oops. Step 2. Any video converter. Now, all these have installers. Now the difficult part. Copy virtual files from source forge. Gee, I wonder why it's difficult to do this part. To any directory. And create a shortcut. You could try opening up an AVI file. You may be okay. You may already have some of these things installed and you didn't know it. You will probably fail, bro. Step 5. If 4 fails, this was with VirtualDub. If 4 fails, and it probably will, install an MP3 decoder. And XviD encoder and decoder. Same. For the XviD site, now this says DivX Digest, right? but it's the XviD code. This, I don't know, this is people talking about XviD. Okay, maybe there's an official site. Let's see. I don't know if it'll take me to a new site. No. This is probably not the only place to find it. I just checked online. Wait, I saw the word official there a second ago. Official website. Okay, just xvid.org. Go here. And then you'll be sure to get the latest and greatest here. Okay? It'll be regular Windows. Yeah, this is where we were. Regular Windows installer. So xvid.org. This part. Easy to remember, xvid.org. So that's I guess that's sort of step 6. My font a little small. Okay. You need to have, it's 3 components: VDub, an MP3 encoder decoder, and an XviD encoder decoder installed. And once these two are working, then VirtualDub will finally work, and you'll be able to open, at least minimally, an AVI file that has like this here, XviD and MP3. If the it'll open a file for reading, say, that doesn't have MP3. As long as you keep the audio set to direct stream copy, it'll play it, and you can do editing, and it'll cut. Even if it doesn't know anything about the audio stream, it'll make cuts, and you'll be able to do some editing, cutting off scenes and stuff. But if you want to re-encode the audio, you need to get an encoder for that particular type. Like if I look at, if this was in full processing mode, okay, this shows the types that I actually have encoders for. Now, why have I got 2 MPEGs? Probably because I've got one from that Audacity and one from that other thing, right? Here's another one, lame, right? And they're all probably the same program. I'm sure this doesn't work, and I'm sure most of these things don't work. I never tried them. And you don't want to do this, well, you could. This will encode audio in PCM RAW format. So like one song would be about 2 gigs, or maybe more than that, worth of audio. A lot. So you don't want to do that. But if you were able to get Audacity working, that's this program. If you downloaded this program, you could take the raw audio stream file and use this thing, which requires an additional MP3 encoder to do an MP3 encoding. You can use this to do a conversion to MP3. It'll do that from raw PCM, they call it, information, raw audio. This thing can export to MP3 as long as you have an encoder. You don't have the encoder, it won't work. But it'll tell you. This thing is actually a little bit clever in that when you don't have it, an encoder, it says you don't have the encoder, click here, and it takes you to this website in order to retrieve that encoder and install it, and then it works. So it's, a little bit smarter than the other program. Okay, well, if you're not successful in doing these tasks, let me know, and I'll see if I can help you out. Alright, so that's step 0. Next step is to maybe do something with a file. See you.